Imagine being locked in a room for 16 hours and you are being manipulated, lied to, intimidated, and sometimes even yelled at. And this is what people who falsely confess to a crime have to go through before their version of the story is twisted so that they are able to honestly falsely confess to a crime. And what that means is just whenever you admit to committing a crime that you actually had nothing to do with. In fact, 30% of all wrongful convictions in the US happen because of false confessions. So it's really important for people to understand why they happen and how they happen, because it negatively affects everyone involved, because it leaves an innocent person in jail most of the time and a guilty person still walking free. In fact, a very famous case of false confessions was the Central Park Five from April of 1989. And the Central Park Five were a group of 5 young men, Anton McRae, Kevin Richardson, Raymond Santana, Yusef Salam, and Kari Wise, and they were all convicted of the assault and attempted murder of 28-year-old jogger Trisha Miley. And while she was in a coma for 12 days, they were all interrogated for at least 5 hours before they were coerced into confessing to her attack. Next is the case of Johnny Wilson, who was convicted in prison as a felon for 9 years for the arson of the house of his next door neighbor. And it was very easy for police to get him to confess because he was bordering on being mentally challenged with an IQ of only 76. And police actually told him that he physically couldn't leave the station until he confessed to her murder. Lastly is John Purvis from Aurora, Missouri, and he was an easy target for a suspect because he was seen as kind of an outcast in the town. So that was because he had suffered from schizophrenia. So it was easy for the police to kind of blur fantasy and reality for him, and that eventually led to, after 4 hours of an interrogation, led to him confessing to the murder of his next door neighbor. It's really important that people understand why people falsely confess, because in a recent survey by the Innocence Project, more people said that they would understand why someone would kill themselves than why they would falsely confess to a crime. So it's really important that people understand that this happens and how it affects everyone so that we can help prevent it. Thank you.